Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about Ashes of Creation, and this is going to be a big rant. Um, where to start? Holy shit. So I've had a break from the game because there were directions that I didn't like where things were going, and I also have leveled 2 level 25s and gotten a third class to level 18 and two more to level 10. I think I deleted one, I can't really remember. So I've grinded a megaton. I've also gotten all the tools in the game, maxed out all the tools. I've done all the professions, done all the crafting in the game. I have a lot of hours in Ashes of Creation now. But as I was taking a break, they actually introduced two new things. And these two things pissed me right off. And I actually looking at the forum posts, the Reddit posts, and holy shit, they have pissed you guys off too. So I guess we're both in the same boat. And I'm not going to be very nice to Stephen. I really hope Stephen or someone high up in the Intrepid Studio is going to be watching this video, because you need to get your shit sorted out. Again, I'm not going to be nice. So the biggest freaking problem I have in this bloody game right now is I wanted to make a seafaring guild like in Arcade. Me and like Steven were on the same page. We didn't know each other, but we were on the same page because he used to run a guild in Arcade Unchained, or the other arcade, or the original Arcade, sorry. And I used to also do that too. I used to be part of a guild that did seafaring. We would do trade runs and we will kill people doing trade runs. Okay? But in Ashes of Creation, for some reason, I have no idea why, it was never said or even hinted at that this game would be hardcore. But it's kind of hardcore, and it's annoying as hell. When you build a caravan, and I don't just mean buying the normal caravan from the vendor, I'm actually talking about getting legendary weeping willow and getting all that, crafting all the parts, and then putting all of that into your wagon, building a frame, but putting all the add-ons onto your wagon, getting the beast of burdens to make it go faster. So now you've got like a 1.5 million HP wagon, which is tanky in itself. You spend what? I don't know, 40 hours grinding this, maybe more, right? And then when you take it to one of your spots from point A to point B, all it takes is a bunch of twats, like a good 5 or 10 people, which is most guilds that want to troll in this game. They just pull up with their shitty gear and they will gank the crap out of you. And you just spent like 60 or maybe even more hours grinding this one thing, and you lose it all. You lose the wagon, you lose the cargo, you lose the components, you lose the beast of burden. And these things not just take 60 hours, but the beast of burden, the taming side of it, even though that is quicker than the gathering, you're wasting his time too. Because now you need to get another beast of burden. Now you need to get another wagon going. And yes, you can buy the NPC wagon that gets destroyed by one person with decent gear within a couple of seconds, if you want to do that. But it is completely stupid. Why would you want to grind all of these hours just to lose a wagon or your boat? And it is so easy to kill these wagons, so easy to kill these boats, even with the skills that they plan to put in the game eventually with these boats and wagons. or caravans should I call them, you're going to get zerged down. Now the other thing that really truly pisses me off that just happened lately, this has pissed off a lot of EU players, that they just merged EU realms with NA, and it's just NA realms. And Stephen was very confident about his pings being stable, but I went back on there, and the first thing I was greeted with was a death. It was roughly like my 5th mob, because there was a wipe and I had to start with again. So obviously it's a gear issue as well. But it's like my 5th mob. I died to rubber banding. Rubber banding. And I don't care. I don't give a shit that it's an alpha. I think everyone should just be put against the wall and shot that keeps saying that this is a freaking alpha. No shit, this is an alpha. Yes, bugs are going to happen. Yes, it's going to be a buggy mess. But making it so that you delete an entire continent, and then just be like, yeah, fuck you guys, we built it in NA, we're going to have servers in NA and fuck everyone else. It's completely fucking disrespectful and stupid. I can't believe you've done this to EU, man. On top of that, they, if you guys don't know, I guess it's probably broken up now, but I still feel like it will come back. Is Pirate Software's bloody guild. So last time I heard news about his guild, it was 1,500 members on his Discord waiting to play Ashes of Creation. And I did some numbers, and even if you took all of the EU guilds and then you fought them against the NA or Pirate Software's guild, Pirate Software would still have about 500 more or something stupid like this players on top. And then there's random NA, and people that fight NA versus EU are very competitive. There's always been this competitiveness where NA wants to fight EU. In Black Desert Online, we've had a few tournaments, EU versus NA, and it is always favoured NA because they have the ping, they have less ping problems, and every single time that Black Desert Online developers always cater to NA servers more than EU. On EU, it is so rough on there. NA servers are trash, and EU as well, but in Korea, because it is a Korean game in Black Desert Online, they didn't have these problems, right? The ping's not a problem, the lag's not a problem, because their servers are there and more stable. So they are the two annoying things that have been going on right now. I couldn't care less about Summoner. If anyone's going to mention, like, do you want to play Summoner? I couldn't care less. I played Rogue for 1 hour and 32 minutes, and I couldn't log off fast enough. That class made me want to just puke. Yeah. Absolute dog trash. Let's talk about the hardcore side of the game. So this game was never ever said to be a hardcore game. No one asked for a hardcore game, and yet you go into the game, you get a decent gear. I'm talking about heroic gear, nothing special. So like you craft heroic gear, you go to the mobs and you fight in like a 1 or a 2 star that are your level. So something level of like 18 to 24, roughly this level, or 25, or even 28, and you are struggling, you're sweating your pants off, you're consuming like 10 bottles of WKD HP potions, you're swagging them down, and then your weapons lose all durability, you get 2 dim glint, here's your reward. Meanwhile, you got to pay for repairs, you got to pay for like potions, you got to, if you die, you get damage debuff. So basically what happens is in the game is when you die, your durability goes down from like 0.1 to like 5%. So you like lose a freaking ton. And this is even precedent in PvP. When you PvP, you lose so much durability on death. So playing a class that is squishy, that is melee, is completely dog shit because you're just permadeath all the time. And the people cry and they say, high risk, high reward. But what is the actual reward? There's plenty of risk in the game. You can die from a 2-star mob within a couple of like seconds. The damage and the tankiness of that mob is ridiculous. And then I'm not even talking about 3-star. 3-star mobs are like a flipping mega god mode behemoth. And you will die if you fight a 3-star mob. Just a 1v1 3-star mob, you will die unless you're like a healer or you have some sort of sleep skill or you're cheesing the game. I'm talking about a non-cheesy class that is just pure damage. You are probably going to die without having potions and stuff. It is ridiculous. You kill that 3-star, what do you get? Okay, great. You got like 10 dim glint. What's that gonna do? That's not even going to be enough to cover your repair costs. And meanwhile, you got people that mine all day long and they're making like 3 to 5 gold an hour. They're making like 30 gold a day or something stupid. And it's ridiculous. All you do is just mine, bloody mine. The equivalent to grinding and killing mobs compared to mining or trading is completely garbage. And you could even say that trading's the worst outcome. Trading kind of has the high risk, high reward, sure, but it's kind of stupid because people will just kill your wagon for fun. And they look at the crates and go, oh, that's a crate, that's got stuff in it, I can't be fucked. I've had my fun, I've killed a bunch of people, I've stopped them progressing in the game, which is technically griefing, and I'm just gonna wait for another caravan. That's their PvP. There is no incentive for PvP in the game right now, and yet you got things like Siege, that you can like declare war on a town. Why would you want to declare war on a town? Do you know what happens when you declare war on a town, Stephen? I really hope you understand the frustrating. So, in towns is the only freaking place you can craft. Just understand this for 1 second. It is the only place you can craft. You just grab all your legendary gear, or your materials I'm about, that cost you 50 to 100 gold. That is a big ass grind, by the way. You just logged in, and like the declare, warning signs to declare war on that node has gone, passed, finished. You log in, and then you don't see that, but before you know it, you are just getting slapped, and you lose all of your map materials that you just pulled out, or you have all the materials on you, and you just logged on, or you DC and you log back on, and you still have the materials on you, and you didn't even know that your node was in the middle of a war. And here's what's pissing me off. You die, you drop all your legendary shit, they pick it up, right? Sure, they get like tagged or whatever, but it doesn't actually matter. And then every time you die whilst you looted someone, you lose a percentage of that loot gets disappeared into the game. It evaporates, and then like 2 or 3% of that gets dropped as pickable loot from other players. So if you're in a massive like war, one person dies, you lose 1%. 2% of it drops, the rest of it you have. Then he gets killed because he's now flagged. and then another percent of that gets evaporated, 2% of that gets dropped, and it just keeps on going until everyone just beating everyone up, right? And it's just a constant mess, and I freaking hate it. The only place you can craft, is in town, and you've made it so that these towns are catered towards griefers. And it's the same with caravans and boats. People just wait outside the docks, or along the narrow paths where the road is, or where the water leads to the docks. And they just gank you. And it doesn't take much at all. You just need like three or four people, and you can gank this one person. You can actually work out the HP values of the wagons and the boats versus the distance to the dock and where they are safe. And you can just kill them. Like, this wagon or boat is 400 HP. He's halfway. No way he's going to make it to the dock in time. Our DPS is going to be good enough. Boom. You've now destroyed his fun. You destroyed his boat. Removed all his cargo. Removed his components. Removed his beasts of burdens if he's doing wagons. And you've just got like 10 silver, 20, 30, 40 silver, I don't know. And you could have done all that just by mining some rocks anyway. And, it's just stupid. Like, it's just freaking stupid. The hardcoreness is stupid. And then you have like dungeons. And dungeons are another stupid thing in the game. Because people go to dungeons for XP. They very rarely go to dungeons for gear, because the best gear is designed and crafted by crafters, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. But when you go to dungeons, by the time you're level 25, the level 10 gear that you're working on is already completely useless, and you need level 20 gear. So what do you need to get level 20 gear? Well, you need 5 workshops that are tier 3, and that takes 5 bloody months just to get tier 3. And then Stephen is like, well, you can, once you got it, you got it. That's not even true no more, because now you've got nodes and siege nodes. So like, you can actually destabilize the economy and remove workshops. And this one was a big ass problem in the EU server. They had people that wanted to gather. They gathered up all the legendary wood, and they gathered up all of the legendary bluebells, and their entire guild got the tier 3 workbench. They handed all the materials to 1 or 2 crafters in the guild, and all the materials were just gathered on these 2 people, right? They crafted like 30 bows, and then once they crafted them all, they deleted the workshop, and no one on the server, absolutely no one, could craft no more bows. It was stupid, and Stephen had to go in and disable the mechanic to delete workshops because it was being abused. By the way, this game is the most abused game I have played in like 5 to 10 years. And I've played some dirty fucking games when it comes to like people abusing mechanics and just outright cheating. And let's talk about flipping tank as well. Oh my god, I've never, ever, ever played a shit tank in any MMO that is shitter than Ashes of Creation. Your tank is the shittest class I have ever seen. It is so bad, and I think it's not even the tank's fault, the class itself, not the player. I think it's the way you design the mobs, personally. So the mobs in this game, every mob likes to use a shitty range attack. And if you got mob A that is onto the left hand side and mob B that's on the right hand side, and the tank doesn't have any like pull, it has the chain things, right? It pulls that into you, and then what can it do? What can the tank do now? The mob B is just throwing like shurikens or spears at you. You know, so what do? You go to that mob, so the other mob is now following you, right? Okay, so now you've got two mobs. Okay, does your 5-man group want to kill two mobs at a time? Fuck, no, they don't. They want to kill 5 mobs. They want to. The healers. I've met healers that are psychopaths. That they're like, we're not taking enough damage. Please give us more damage. We need more mobs. I need to heal people because I got a huge ego. Let me do cure level fucking 3 or something. I was literally one of them, by the way. I was literally a bard, a damaged bard that was out healing healers, right? Because I was so good at my goddamn class. And the tanks are rubbish in this game. The tanks hide behind the wall. They let the rangers go out, shoot them with the pew 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 bow, and then they run back to the tank. The tank is behind the wall, so you've got field of view, so FOV. And then when the tank stays there, the ranger goes around the side. He hogs the tank. Oh, please help me, help me! And then the tank, as the mobs come to you really close, because they are blocked by FOV, field of view, the mobs are now all grouped up together. Now the tank taunts everything and like smashes everything with CCs and so on and so forth. And it's like the opposite of what a tank is. It's absolutely stupid. And in this game, tanks are not even tanks. Tanks die within freaking seconds. The magic resist problem for tanks, for any class, is so bloody trash. It is so trash. Basically, how it works is you have heavy armor, which gives high physical resist, but it makes you have the shittest magical resist. So as a tank, you want to be tanky. So what you basically have to do is have high heavy armor, like 5 heavy armor, and like 3 light armor. And the light armor is going to make you even weaker to physical, whilst the heavy is going to make you weaker to magical, right? And it just doesn't make freaking any sense. A tank should just be tanky. And if you look at the tank, they don't have any proper utility. They don't have, their chain pull is garbo. It should be pulling, like, you should be able to pull that target to you. It does no damage and it just pulls the target, right? Pulls the target, pulls the target, pulls the target, pulls the target. Then it should have a skill that roots these assholes in place, like the ranger. They should have skills that apply like this distortion or something like that, which basically immobilizes the enemies that he's with. Tank in this game should be an AoE nightmare. Like, if you are like 1v5 in PvP, that one tank can go up to 5 people and just like be a nightmare. He's unkillable, he does no damage, but he debuffs, he slows, he weighs him down, and he lets Bob and Harry, that are the DPSs in the back, kill that one group of 5 men. That's what a real tank should be in this game, not this bullshit tank that's made out of paper. It's so dumb. It is so dumb. And another annoying thing is the pyromancers, man. The pyromancers and the fire ellies, they chuck their fireball. I don't know who designed this shit, Stephen, in your game, but someone didn't like the fact that that mages were getting like abused or something like this, because they clearly had a mindset that they were a mage in another game and that mages should be superior. They clearly had that mindset, because one fireball will nuke like 3000 HP, you know, depending on what kind of gear set you are. Absolutely atrocious and stupid. And let's talk about bosses now. This is freaking terrible, right? We get on to dungeons in a minute, because like we sort of went away from dungeons, but we're going to get back into it. But bosses I did Firebrand. This is how shit Firebrand was, right? For me, right? I did Firebrand. I was the third top DPS. The third top DPS, right? My damage was ridiculous when fighting that. Do you know what happened? I went to the door because someone was knocked on my door, and it was like sponsor a dog. I thought, fuck it, let's do it. I did it, come back, and I was kicked from the party. Meanwhile, people were killing Firebrand. They did 5% of his HP. I rejoined, asked them like 20 billion times, invite me into the party. I am 10 plus in all my gear, and all my gear is heroic and legendary. Like, I'm doing ridiculous. I'm doing so much damage in the game that the game became boring because nothing was really a challenge anymore. And I don't get invited, so I just killing the boss outside of the party, and what happens? The boss only gives you loot inside the party. So the way I think it works is like your party counts as one unit, and you count as one unit too. So 30 people in that one unit is going to be doing 29% more damage than the average person outside the party. So everyone got the loot or got a chance to roll. Meanwhile, I got jack shit because I was kicked by a random ego lord that thought I was AFK. I was AFK for a few minutes. So the entire, there's no, assistance. There's none of that crap in the game, and it's so annoying. And the same it goes with PvP, to be honest with you. When you're, PvPing, you should be able to get some sort of reward. But there's no rewards. You actually said in one of the videos that players are going to be getting reward for PvPing. There's no rewards. I know this is an alpha. I don't give a shit that it's an alpha. If you're going to put these mechanics in the game, then I expect you to actually hold true to it. And that's another thing that pisses me off. If we've got siege and you can just declare war on another town as a mayor and zerg everyone that has just started on the game, they just got level 10 and they're just starting, you're going to kill them people, they're going to lose XP, they're going to lose money, their glint, they're going to lose materials, and then on top of all that, they're going to be discouraged because they don't know what the fuck is going on. Why have you enabled PvP when there is no system, there's no reward to actually PvP a node? There is no reward. The only reward is actually the enjoyment of PvP. So why can't you just PvP at the Amber Spring, south of whatever town, or whatever? It makes no sense to have that in the game yet. It's just, it's completely stupid. And all of these problems create griefers, the wagons, the boats, the siege mechanics, the exploiting of camping legendary materials at resources nodes. Apparently that's been fixed. I don't know if that's true. I haven't played in a while. And, people literally going through the invisible barrier to get to the other side of the map. People flying through the air. People abusing the teleport system. Glitching themselves through rocks in order to teleport into, for some reason, I don't know why, Carthan Ember Spring. It just randomly teleports you to Carthan Ember Spring. Then your wagon is there, and then you just jump on your wagon, and then you complete the wagon travel. And they do all this bullshit, and it's just the most griefing game. Absolute stupid. And let's talk about grinding and dungeon now. So grinding is so exhausting in the game. I played Blackness Online, which is the biggest grinding game I've ever played in my game. It's like RuneScape trying to get 100 and everything. Yeah, by the time you've got max gear on Black Desert Online, you've probably invested a good 4 years in or 5 years into the game, and I'm talking about non-stop every day, at least 4 hours a day of grinding, which is something typical of like 3 bill a day, 3 to 5 bill, depending on your gear, how new you are. Obviously, it takes a long time to get started off in the game because you don't have gear. But as you get gear in Black Desert Online, you you can earn more money. And in this game, in Asher's Creation, the dungeon system is so bad and the experience is so bad. In dungeons it's good, but outside it's bad. So I understand the concept there, which is fine, but the biggest problem is as you are grinding and you're trying to level up, people only invite you based on your class and your level. If your level is shit, they won't take you. Because there's a level system between the lower and the higher. You have to be within, I think, 5 levels difference of each other in order to get the best amount of XP and in order to activate drops. If you don't get any of this, and you lose XP and you lose the drop, the decent drop value. And on top of that, when you are getting leveled in the game, you'll find that if you just keep going into dungeons and leveling in dungeons, you will get decent enough level and all of the crafting things that you want to get in the game. So your main goal is to get level 10 and you're level 15, which is only a 5 level difference. It's not too bad. Like level 10 gear is pretty damn good when you try it. It's cheap as well. But when you get to level 20, then you start thinking, I should probably get level 20 gear now because that's the max level gear. And by the time you have grinded all of that resources to get level 10 gear, you're level 25. It's completely stupid. And you've got so much messing about with materials. You got to get this legendary, you got to get that legendary. You need 5 items just to make a slate armor mold. It's absolutely stupid. You're running around like a headless chicken and nobody wants to do it. Even the crafters have quit the game because they are sick and tired of all this running around. And to be honest with you, it's like 10 hours of running around just to find one legendary map to then take to your store and realize that when you put all these materials in the slots, you don't get a legendary back, you just get like a heroic, and then someone buys it off you and you've done 10 hours or 5 hours of grinding and your return is 2 gold, when you could have just mined rocks and sold them to the NPC for 5 gold an hour, or something like this. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to leave it just there. There's a lot more to talk about with Asher's Creation. There's been a lot that has changed just lately, and I will go into that in the next video, but I'm going to leave it here. I really hope they fix their game. I think the artisans are just completely out of control. They are way too complex, and complexity really does ruin the game. You can have a game like Pax Day, which is complex as well, but you know what you're doing, and because you know what you're doing, it's very simple to do it once you've had a decent enough experience. And I think Pax Day kind of nailed that. I also hope that they fix the starting area. Now, my biggest complaint in this game, and it will always be my biggest complaint, is the starting area. You start with a rusty sword. This concept needs to die. This concept needs to die. You have no gear, rusty sword. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. You're not a peasant. You're just a person that returns to the realm, right? You had to retreat. Now you come back after 1,000 years. I don't feel like you should have a rusty sword and rags on your back. I feel like you should have a sword or whatever you want, whatever weapon you want to start with, but it's enough stats to get you going. You should have money to start with, maybe like 3 gold, right? This allows you to buy gear, right? You're not a peasant, you're coming it back into the realm. And on top of that, there are no quests that I have found, apart from one that was implemented about, I think it's about a month ago. I haven't found it since, but I know it's in the game. But there are no real quests that you start off with, and it gives you gear. The game needs this. This is the biggest problem. You need to have a quest in the game that will give you full armor, will give you a better weapon, accessories. You don't get any accessories until you hit the town, and they're just grade accessories. Because this is not in the game, this creates about 5 to 6 hours worth of grinding when it could just be about 1 hour. I've done the maths on this, and it is ridiculous the amount of time. I actually got lucky on a two-handed blue, I forgot what they call it, flesh ripper blade, and my progression went so fast. I went from doing 1 mob at a time to killing 6 mobs at a time, and my grind just was times like 6 all the time, because I had so much damage, so much stats, more than the stupid rusty blade from level 1. So I'm not asking for full legendary. I just think they should give us uncommon, so green grade, uncommon gear in the quest lines, so then we can actually grind these mobs. And the fact that these mobs are ridiculously hard and you can't take on 5 or 10 at a time is kind of stupid. Like, you can only do that, take out 5 or 10 at a time if you're certain classes, or if you've got a lot of gear. And by then, you're normally fighting like really low grade mobs. Anyway, don't want to make the video too much longer. We definitely talk about more in the next video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.